There was big news yesterday in the sporting world with Ireland head coach Andy Farrell set to lead the Lions to Australia in 2025. Editor of the 42.ie, Niall Kelly, joins me now to discuss Farrell's big news and the rest of today's sporting action. Good to see you, Niall.
Morning, Martin.
This was no surprise. It had been flagged a long time ago that this was going to happen, but is it good news for Ireland?
Yeah, it's as you said, the worst kept secret probably in rugby at the moment. But confirmed yesterday, and I suppose the 18-month build-up now to next summer's tour of Australia really begins in earnest. Is it good news for Ireland? I think it can be, yeah, for sure.
Andy Farrell is saying that it is.
Yeah, I mean, you have to look at it a few ways. You look at it from Andy Farrell's own perspective. You listen to the way he spoke about this yesterday. He was describing it as magical, like, you know, a dream come true. It's very hard to think that if Ireland, the RFU, for whatever reason, decided to stand in the way of that you know, that's a very good retention strategy for the long haul. Like this is clearly, the Lions as a concept is not something that everybody buys into, but Andy Farrell definitely does buy into. This will be, you know, he's been on tours as assistant coaches. You know, he has a great record there. He knows, like, he's given some of the most iconic speeches, dressing room speeches in Lions history. Like, this is a man who really believes in the tradition and the concept of the Lions. So I think, from an IRFU perspective, it would be very, very hard to stand in his way. I'm not sure how much this was raised in negotiations when Andy Farrell was signing his new contract, but I can imagine it probably came up for discussion because it has been on the cards for a long time. And for him, you know, this is an opportunity, a coaching experience for him to coach the best of Four Nations and really to spend time with those. So I've heard it said, you know, that Brian O'Driscoll was talking during the week. He was part of the selection committee that put Andy Farrell forward, and he was saying, look, you know, Andy Farrell probably gives something away in that players from England, Scotland and Wales will get a real insight into how he works, but equally he'll get a real insight into those players and will be able to bring that back to the Ireland dressing room for 2026 Six Nations and beyond into that World Cup, the rest of that World Cup cycle. So, you know, it works both ways in that respect. And then it opens the door as well because Andy Farrell, the deal is that he will coach through to the end of the November internationals this year for Ireland, and then we'll take a sabbatical for the start of next year and take a step back. And that obviously then opens the door for somebody else to fill his boots for Ireland, get experience as the head coach there. It looks like that'll probably be Simon Easterby, but that's not confirmed yet. Ireland haven't confirmed that yet. But, you know, that gives somebody else, Simon Easterby or whoever it may be, a real opportunity to have a Six Nations campaign as head coach and build their own experience, which can only be a good thing.
So this is for the 2026 Six Nations that this will happen. Andy Farrell yesterday saying, I can fill the two roles. I can still do the job.
Yeah, I mean, this is 2025 Six Nations. Yeah, ahead of the
2025 Six Nations.
Yeah, Andy Farrell,
he's back for 2026.
He could do the two roles, but then you have an issue there around whether or not, you know, he's then coaching players against players he's going to be trying to select and coach and get on side. So, you know, I think in the interim this year, I don't think Andy Farrell's focus is going to be distracted too much. I think he's well able to balance them for this year. And then, yes, it makes sense then to take a step back for the start of next year.
Everything will need to be parked. Anyway, we'll watch that with interest, without question.